changing, what's really at stake, and what kind of innovative ideas, maybe even bipartisan ones, are actually on the table.
Ideas to secure Social Security for, generations to come.
You should walk away with some maybe surprising facts and definitely a clearer picture of what these shifts could mean for your own financial planning.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Maybe start with the annual changes people look out for, especially if you're getting benefits now or, planning to soon.
Good idea. Like the CLA, the cost of living adjustment.
Right. The CLA for 2026 is projected to be around 2.7%.
Okay, 2.7%. How does that compare?
Well, it follows a 2.5% CLA in 2025, and actually it's right in line with the 20-year average, which is about 2.6%. So pretty standard, historically speaking.
And for you, the listener, this 2.7% increase, well, it could raise the average Social Security payment for retired workers from, let's see, an estimated $2,006.69 in July 2025 to about $2,060.87 in 2026.
So that's roughly an extra $54 a month.
Yeah, about $54. But here's that kind of CLA catch-22 we always talk about.
More money sounds great, obviously.
But you got to remember, a higher CLA is basically a direct result of higher inflation.
Exactly. And our sources, like the Senior Citizens League, they point out that a lot of seniors feel the CLA doesn't really capture their actual rising costs.
Especially for things like medical bills and housing.
Yeah.
Those seem to go up faster.
Precisely. So it's calculated based on a specific index, the CPI-W, that's the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Comparing the third quarter of this year to the third quarter of last year, it's a formula, but it might not match your personal inflation rate.
Got it. Speaking of numbers, there's another milestone coming up.
Yes, the average benefit amount.
Right. The average monthly benefit for retired workers was just under $2,000, $1,980.86 back in February 2025.
And this deep dive suggests it's pretty much set to cross that $2,000 mark by January 2026 at the latest.
Mainly because of the CLA we just talked about, and also new, often higher earning beneficiaries coming into the system.
It's a milestone for sure, passing $2,000.
But let's, put it in perspective. $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year.
Which sounds okay until you compare it.
Exactly. Compare that to the average annual spending for a household headed by someone 65 or older. In 2023, that was over $60,000.
Wow. Over $60,000.
Yeah. It really underscores how important it is to have other income sources like savings, pensions, investments.
Social Security is meant to be a foundation, right? Not the whole retirement plan.
Definitely not the whole house. Okay. What else is happening in 2026? The FRA.
Yes, the full retirement age. This is a big one, actually. For anyone born in 1960 or later, your FRA officially hits 67 in 2026.
And that marks the end of that long, gradual increase, doesn't it?
It does. A 42-year process started way back with the 1983 amendments. It was designed to account for people living longer.
So age 67 is the new standard full retirement age for younger cohorts.
Right. And that makes your decision about when to claim even more significant.
Because claiming early, say at age 62, that still means a benefit reduction, right?
The big one, up to 30% less per month compared to waiting until your FRA.
But on the flip side, if you can wait past your FRA,
you get rewarded. Delaying up to age 70 increases your monthly check. It's about 2/3 of 1% for each month you wait.
Which works out to roughly 8% per year extra for delaying. That's a pretty powerful incentive if you can manage it.
It absolutely is. Okay, another thing, changing taxes for higher earners.
The Social Security tax limit, the maximum earnings subject to the tax.
Exactly. That's projected to go up from $176,100 in 2025 to an estimated $183,600 in 2026.
So what does that actually mean for someone earning that much or more?
Well, if you're a high earner, it could mean owing about an extra $465 a year in Social Security tax.
Bringing the total annual Social Security tax up to, what, around $11,383?
Roughly, yeah. And remember, there's no similar cap on Medicare taxes. That applies to all your earnings.
Good point. Okay, what about people working while collecting benefits early? The earnings test.
Right. Those limits are also adjusted for inflation. If you're collecting benefits before your full retirement age and still working, the earnings limit is expected to rise. It goes from $23,400 in 2025 to $24,360 in 2026.
And if you earn over that limit?
Then $1 in benefits is withheld for every $2 you earn above it.
Okay. And there's a different rule for the year you actually reach your FRA, isn't there?
Yes, a higher limit. For those reaching FRA in 2026, that limit is projected to be $64,800, up from $62,160.
And the withholding rate is different too.
Right. It's $1 withheld for every $3 earned above that higher limit, just in the months before you hit your FRA.
But the key thing here is, once you actually reach your full retirement age,
Poof! The earnings test disappears completely.
and any benefits that were withheld before, you get those back eventually, right?
Yes, they aren't lost forever. Your benefit is recalculated at your FRA to give you credit for those withheld months. It's more of a delay than a penalty.
Gotcha. Okay, one last quick update for 2026 earning credits.
Right. Just a reminder that the amount you need to earn for Social Security credit goes up each year. You need 40 credits over your working life to qualify for retirement benefits.
And in 2025, it took all $1,810 for one credit, or $7,240 for the max 4 credits you can earn in a year.
And those numbers will tick up again in 2026. Just something to be aware of.
Okay. So that covers the sort of immediate changes for 2026. But here's where the conversation maybe gets a bit more serious.
Yeah, this leads into the bigger picture. All these benefits, COLAs, they cost money. And that highlights the longer-term challenge.
The Social Security Trust Fund itself, it's projected to hit a critical point relatively soon.
Let's unpack that. We're talking about the OASI Trust Fund Old Age and Survivors Insurance. That's the main one, paying retirement benefits.
And the projection is insolvency. When?
The current projection is that the fund will exhaust its reserves in 2033.
Wow. 2033, that's only, what, 7 years after 2026?
Exactly. It's not that far away. And exhaust reserves doesn't mean benefits stop entirely, but
But it means they can only pay out what's coming in from current taxes.
precisely. And ongoing taxes are estimated to cover only about 83% of the benefits that are scheduled to be paid.
So that implies a 17% benefit cut for everyone.
A 17% cut. Yeah, that's not a minor tweak. It's a significant reduction.
Just imagine the impact of that on retirees. Our sources actually put a number on it.
Oh.
They suggested future beneficiaries might need to save an additional $150,000 over their working lives,
Wow.
or about $701 extra per month for Gen X retirees, just to make up for that potential 17% shortfall.
That really brings it home. It's not just abstract numbers, it's people's actual retirement security.
And the size of the problem, actuarially speaking. The system faces a deficit of 3.5% of taxable payroll.
Which means, over the long term, expected costs are 3.5% higher than expected revenues, measured as a percentage of all the wages subject to Social Security tax.
And that 3.5%, it's significantly larger than the problem they faced back in 1983, right, when they last did major reforms.
Much larger, about 1.7 times the deficit they tackled then.
What's driving this? We touched on longevity.
Yeah, people are living longer, which is great. But fertility rates have also dropped below the level needed to replace the population.
Fewer babies, longer lives, means fewer workers paying in for every person drawing benefits out.
Exactly. It's the old age dependency ratio. That's the number of working age folks per person over 65.
And that ratio has fallen dramatically.
Oh, yeah. It was 5.7 workers per retiree back in 1970. It dropped to 3.7 by 2020.
And projections.
Projected to hit just 2.7 by 2040. That's a huge shift in the balance.
And the really frustrating part, I think, is that none of this is exactly news, is it?
Not at all. These demographic trends, the financial pressures, they've been known for decades.
But getting political agreement on a fix, that's been the challenge.
It really has. Our sources note the typical divide. Democratic proposals often focus more on raising revenue, taxes.
While Republican plans tend to lean more towards adjusting benefits, maybe slowing their growth, or raising retirement ages.
Which leads to gridlock, even though the need for action is, well, pretty obvious.
And the urgency is only growing, right? Fixing Social Security isn't just about Social Security.
No, it's key for the country's overall fiscal health. We're looking at federal deficits over $1 trillion annually.
And public debt is projected to climb significantly, 122% of GDP in 10 years. Maybe over 166% in 30 years. That's concerning.
Very. And polls show the public gets it. A huge majority of Americans want Congress to act now.
Because waiting just makes the problem harder to solve, doesn't it? The adjustments need to become bigger, more painful.
Absolutely. Delay is costly.
So, given all that, this urgency, the political gridlock, this new centrist blueprint we mentioned comes into play.
Right. It's an attempt to bridge that gap, to find a path forward that could potentially get bipartisan support.
How does it try to do that?
By balancing things, it includes both ways to increase revenue and ways to adjust benefits, along with some targeted improvements.
So not just leaning on one side or the other.
Exactly. It's built around some core principles, like achieving solvency for the next 75 years. That's the standard benchmark.
Okay, 75 years. What else?
Making sure there are no benefit cuts for current beneficiaries. That's usually a key point for political feasibility.
Protect those already retired or close to it. Makes sense.
Also, keeping Social Security self-funded, no dipping into the general fund, enhancing the program's progressivity.
Meaning it does more for lower income folks relative to what they paid in.
Correct. And also strengthening protections against risks like, death, disability, old age, poverty. And finally, aiming for universal participation among workers.
Okay, those are the guiding ideas. So what are the actual proposals? Let's dig into the specifics, maybe start with the revenue side.
Sure. One of the biggest proposals is about the taxable maximum, that earnings cap we talked about earlier.
The $183,600 estimated for 2026. What's the proposal?
The plan is to gradually increase that cap so that it eventually covers 90% of total wages in the economy. Right now, it covers about 82.5%.
So more of the earnings of high earners would be subject to Social Security tax.
Right. Phased in starting around 2027. The idea is to get back closer to the share of wages covered back in 1983, but stopping at 90%.
Why stop at 90%?
To avoid diverting too much revenue from other needs, and also to prevent creating excessively large benefits for those same high earners down the line. It aims for balance.
Okay, raising the cap. What else on revenue?
There's a proposal to close what some call a loophole for pass-through business owners.
Like S-Corp owners or partners in LLCs.
Exactly. Those who are actively involved in their business. The proposal would make sure their earnings up to the cap are subject to self-employment taxes. SSI.
Leveling the playing field with regular employees who pay payroll taxes on their wages.
That's the goal, making sure everyone contributes fairly.
And is there a straight-up tax rate increase in this plan, too?
A small one. A modest bump in the payroll tax rate from 12.4% to 12.6%.
Split between employers and employees.
Yes, split evenly. So an extra 0.1% for workers and 0.1% for employers. It's part of the overall balance between revenue and benefit adjustments.
Okay, so those are the main revenue ideas. Now, what about the benefit adjustments? Some of these are effectively reductions, right?
Some are, yes, but targeted. For instance, one major proposal is increasing the retirement age, but only for higher earners.
Interesting. How would that work?
For the top 2/5 of earners, the full retirement age would gradually rise, eventually reaching age 70 for the very top fifth.
Phased in over time.
Yeah, starting around 2037 and reaching 70 by 2054 for that top group.
And the logic there?
It's based on longevity data. Life expectancy gains have been much larger for higher earners compared to lower earners, where gains have been minimal or even negative lately. So it tries to align retirement age with those differing longevity trends.
Okay, that's a significant structural change. What other benefit adjustments?
Another one changes how your average earnings are calculated, the AME average indexed monthly earnings.
Right now, it's based on your highest 35 years of earnings.
Correct. The proposal is to gradually shift that to using the highest 40 years of earnings.
Phased in again.
Yes, starting around 2032 and reaching 40 years by 2040. The idea is to reflect longer working lives and increased overall life expectancy.
But wouldn't that potentially hurt lower wage workers who might have more zero earning years?
That's a valid concern. The proposal explicitly notes this should be paired with improvements to the Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI, to cushion the impact on vulnerable low-income workers.
Okay, so it's meant to be part of a package.
Yeah.
What else? Taxing benefits.
Yes, specifically for high earners. Currently, up to 85% of benefits can be taxed depending on income. This proposal would make all Social Security benefits taxable for singles with AGI over $100,000 and couples over $125,000.
And those income thresholds would be adjusted for inflation going forward.
Correct. So it targets higher income folks specifically, making the overall system more progressive.
Got it. Then there are changes to specific types of benefits, like for spouses.
Right. The dependent retiree spouse benefit, where someone can get up to 50% of their spouse's benefit, would be gradually phased out for new retirees starting in 2027.
Fully phased out by when?
By 2037. The thinking is that with more women in the workforce having earned their own benefits, this particular benefit is less necessary than it once was.
But it wouldn't affect current beneficiaries or disabled spouses or survivors.
Correct. Those protections remain. It's focused on future retirees.
And there's a similar proposal for children's benefits.
Yes, eliminating benefits paid to children of retired workers, again, only for those retiring after January 2027.
But keeping benefits for kids of disabled or deceased workers.
Absolutely. And also for disabled children, adopted kids, or kids cared for by grandparents. The argument for the change is that retirement is typically a choice, unlike disability or death.
Okay, so those are the adjustments that involve some reduction or phasing out. But the blueprint also includes benefit improvements, right,
Good.
to address vulnerabilities.
Yes, and this is crucial for the balance. A key one is increasing survivor benefits.
How so?
It would allow a surviving spouse to receive either the higher of the two individual benefits or 75% of the couple's combined benefit, whichever is more advantageous, up to a cap.
And the goal there?
To combat poverty among older widows, which is a significant problem. When a spouse dies, household income often drops by more than half, but expenses don't fall nearly as much. This helps bridge that gap.
That seems like a really important protection. What else on the improvement side?
Creating a new type of benefit. An early retirement disability or ERD benefit.
For whom?
For older workers, maybe starting around age 58, who have health problems that prevent them from doing their usual work, but maybe don't meet the very strict definition for regular Social Security disability insurance, SSDI.
So it kind of bridges the gap for people forced out of work early due to health.
Exactly. It acknowledges those health and life expectancy disparities we see, especially by income and race.
Okay. What about support for younger people, students?
The plan proposes restoring student benefits for children of disabled or deceased parents, extending them through age 25.
Weren't those eliminated previously?
They were, for the most part. This brings them back and expands them to cover community college and trade schools, and also applies if grandparents are the caregivers.
Aiming to help with college affordability for families hit by loss or disability.
Precisely. And speaking of grandparents,
There's something specific for them, too.
yes, providing child benefits more easily when grandparents or other relatives are raising children, often due to family crises like the opioid epidemic. It loosens the rules if they've had custody for 6 months and provides significant financial support.
Recognizing that reality for many families.
Right. And one more improvement. Helping disabled adult children, or DOSTs.
These are adults who became disabled before age 22.
Yes. The proposal removes marriage as a reason for their benefits to end and makes sure later earnings don't disqualify them. It fixes some outdated rules that cause hardship.
Okay, so a mix of revenue changes, targeted benefit adjustments, and these key benefit improvements. What about bigger systemic things? Coverage, money transfers.
Yeah, a couple of big ones there. First, dedicating all the money raised from taxing Social Security benefits back to the Social Security Trust Funds, OASEI.
Doesn't some of that go to Medicare now?
Yes, part goes to the Medicare Hospital Insurance HI Trust Fund. This plan redirects it all to Social Security, but crucially finds other ways to make the Medicare fund whole so it's not negatively impacted.
Okay, basically an internal budget shift. What else? Immigration.
Yes, expanding legal immigration is part of the solvency plan, increasing caps for employment-based visas and other permanent migration categories.
How does that help Social Security?
Immigrants are often younger, working-age adults. They come in, work, pay Social Security taxes for many years before they're eligible for benefits. It directly helps improve that worker-to-beneficiary ratio.
A demographic boost for the system. Makes sense. And finally, universal coverage.
Right. Bringing all newly hired state and local government employees into Social Security, starting around 2032.
Some aren't covered now.
In some states and localities, yes, they have their own pension systems. This brings new hires into the federal system.
Benefits for those workers and more money flowing into Social Security.
Exactly. It provides workers with portable benefits, CLLAs, spousal benefits they might not get otherwise, and it gives the trust fund a cash infusion. It could also help some underfunded state and local plans.
Okay, wow. That is a comprehensive package. Lots of moving parts.
It really is. A mix of taxes, benefit tweaks, improvements, and systemic changes.
So, pulling it all together, what's the overall impact? Does it actually fix the problem?
According to the analysis, yes. This blueprint is estimated to achieve 75 years of solvency for Social Security. It closes that projected shortfall.
Meaning it prevents that looming 17% benefit cut we were worried about.
Correct. That's the primary goal. Ensure the system can pay 100% of promised benefits for the long haul. And it also has a positive impact on the federal deficit overall,
How much?
projected to reduce the deficit by $2.3 trillion over the next 10 years and another $6.6 trillion in the decade after that.
So it strengthens Social Security and improves the government's overall financial picture.
That's the claim. It really shows what might be possible if a balanced, give and take approach is taken.
It prioritizes solvency, definitely,
Yeah.
but it also seems to try and make the system fairer, more progressive.
And increases protections for some of the most vulnerable groups, survivors, disabled individuals, children in tough situations.
It feels like a genuine attempt at a bipartisan solution, trying to uphold the program's tradition while adapting it for the future.
Ultimately, look, these aren't just numbers and policies on paper.
No, this stuff has a real, tangible impact on pretty much everyone listening, on you, your family, your financial future.
Being able to count on Social Security, knowing it's financially sound for the decades ahead,
Yeah,
that's fundamental to retirement security for millions.
absolutely. So here's something to think about as we wrap up. We've laid out this blueprint. It balances tax increases, mainly on higher earners, with some strategic benefit adjustments, but also significant benefit improvements for vulnerable groups. It aims for that 75-year solvency. With a detailed plan like this on the table, what do you think the biggest hurdle is to actually getting something like it passed? Is it really about the specific policy details, or is it more about the political will to compromise? Think about it from your perspective. What would you be willing to see changed? Maybe something you don't love in order to guarantee this vital program is secure for the next 75 years. What's the acceptable trade-off for long-term stability? Welcome to Financial Area. I'm Paul.
And I'm Rachel.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into something that, well, affects almost everyone in the U.S., the future of Social Security.
That's right. We've been looking through a whole stack of sources, Bankrate, Kiplinger, the Brookings Institution, the Motley Fool, too, to really unpack the latest estimates for 2026.
Yeah, and also to explore this pretty interesting new blueprint that aims to keep the program solvent for the long haul.
Exactly. Our mission for you today is, well, to get you really informed.
Informed on what's changing, what's really at stake, and what kind of innovative ideas, maybe even bipartisan ones, are actually on the table.
Ideas to secure Social Security for, generations to come.
You should walk away with some maybe surprising facts and definitely a clearer picture of what these shifts could mean for your own financial planning.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Maybe start with the annual changes people look out for, especially if you're getting benefits now or, planning too soon.
Good idea.